And now, it's time for Levack and Goz to answer the question, why?
Why? Tell me why.
Why?
Wednesday, just about 4 o'clock, I like to play a little game called Why. Goz just goes around the world of sports and further and says, hey, does this make sense to you? Because I can't make sense of it, and we try to figure it out together.
The first time we did this in 2018, I think it was you who brought it up. I'm feeling guilty now about the Nancy Kerrigan why now. I still am.
Oh, I'm not.
After watching I, Tonya, I feel a little bit worse.
Oh, right? Because you weren't really old enough to absorb that, were you?
No, not really.
Yeah, dude. I remember that. There's only a few sports stories that don't involve my absolute favorite athletes or teams that make my jaw drop. And that was one of the ones, I just remember being in my living room, and we had an ugly green carpet and a weird couch and whole night, and I'm just standing there in front of my couch with my head tilted like a Doberman that hears a loud noise, with my jaw down they're figure skaters and they're violent to each other. What is the world coming to?
And all that being said, it fits too well at the intro, so we can't cut it. I mean, it's too good.
That's why.
All right, the first one here. Why is the Empire the nickname for the new Albany Arena football team?
Well, I think what they did is they came up with something a little bit left of center, a little unique, a little different. And then when you hear the mission statement, it really hammers it home. It's, when the whole thing starts in bloody knuckles in Albany, and we know fights, and arena football began here, and then it goes, we're not building a team. We're building an empire. And dude, I mean, as a sports guy, you hear those little things, and you're in the locker room, you're you're damn right we're not just a team, we're an empire, and then you go punch somebody in the nose.
Woo, love it. Yeah, let's do it. I wonder now, though, voting-wise,
Where Nightmares came in?
No, Nightmares did not make the top 4. Phoenix, I thought was going to win because of the play on the Albany Firebirds in the past and all that. But I wonder if now, because
we split the vote when we got
boom.
When we said Phoenixes?
No, Levack. The votes between the Fire and the Phoenix were split in half. And because of that, the Empire picked up their 44% needed. And I was not a huge fan of it, but then I watched all the things you said there. I watched the presentation yesterday. I can get with it.
I like the logo.
I like the logo as well. I like the colors, too.
I look forward to my 3X jersey with Levack on the back of it.
The next one here. Albany men's basketball is a big underdog tonight against the Vermont Catamounts. Why?
Man, this just shows the way that Albany has struggled through conference play to this point, and Vermont hasn't. I remember Vermont loses their best player, and everybody's like, oh, this season's over. Get ready to play the championship game at Albany. And it turns out they've rallied around their injuries. Albany staggered a little bit, but they did punch UMBC in the mouth. Those poor retrievers got Great Daned. If they can do that tonight to Vermont, in Vermont, that the narrative of this season goes right back to Albany being the dominant team.
And the reason I bring up big underdog is because
they're Great Danes?
No, GamePredictor.com has said, 83% chance that Vermont wins the game tonight? Now, some people, maybe you're able to find the line, maybe you're not able to. I bet it'd be probably close to double digits tonight, involving Vermont's lead over the Great Danes and what has to happen. And that is why they're the big underdog. Now, we'll find out tonight whether or not that's deserving that Albany needs to be there, because record-wise, the Great Danes, no question, are below where they should be, at least projection-wise, but the talent hasn't changed. The roster is still just as competitive, and the players are just as good as they were last season. Interesting matchup tonight, 104.5. The team you can hear at our pregame coverage gets underway at 6:30. The next one here involves the New York Jets. Why does Josh McCown want to come back and play in the NFL?
Man, he had his best year at 38 years old. July 4th, he turns 39. You're seeing guys play till 40. McCown's one of those guys, too. When you look at Josh McCown, if you didn't know anything about him, you just walked into a room and this guy's standing there and they said to you, how old is he? I don't think there's a person in the world that would go over 32. I mean, he looks like somebody who has not been beat up for the last 10 years on a football field, but he has been. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a good time for him. I think he can do good things for the Jets. I think his expectations are lower than some guys who would come in. And considering the fact he made under $8 million last year, you give him 10 this year, in a year where you have to spend money, he's happy, you're happy, and your next quarterback coach is on your roster.
Yeah, he feels like he can come back because he feels like he's good enough. He feels like he can do it. He watched his production last season with a, not talent-wise, not a great wide receiving core. He made them better. He just flat out did. And now they lose the offensive coordinator. He may think, I can do this again. If the team wants me back, I want to come back, they may bring me back. The question now is then, if Josh McCown is in the future, do they go out in the offseason and spend? Do they believe McCown's a better backup now? Is it time to cut bait with Christian Hackenberg or Bryce Petty?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, where does that roster look like? And maybe you go late round, 4th, 5th rounder with a quarterback and cut bait with both Hackenberg and Petty and have McCown as the backup, a veteran as your starter, and some late pick as your 3rd rounder. Jets could do a lot of things here. The next one. We found out last night LeBron James finally hits the 3,000 plateau, the youngest player to do it. I say finally because it seemed like a long time it took him to do it. And yesterday we had to endure this. Levack, why did LeBron James thank himself on Instagram yesterday for reaching 30,000 points?
Because, I mean, when you think about underappreciated, under-recognized athletes, I mean, LeBron James is top of the list, right? I mean... No. I remember when that poor guy was in high school and ESPN only dedicated every waking moment to his existence. It's, and then Brian Windhorst following him all through life, covering him. I mean, the guy he's got a legitimate gripe for people not paying attention to him.
No, all of that is just so sarcastic. It's disgusting. I don't know what the reason is. True. What? He got 1 million likes? He wanted us to talk about him? I like LeBron James. I do. I'm a fan of LeBron. I followed his career. Not as close as Brian Windhorst, but since he was playing on St. Vincent St. Mary on ESPN, certain things he does, it makes it hard for me to be like, okay, that makes sense. Oh, that's a good... No, man. Stop thanking yourself on Instagram. It's weird. You're making yourself look bad. I got 2 more for you here. I got 3 more for you, because one I'm really charged up about. The next one here, though, is why does Josh Allen want to save the Cleveland Browns? Josh Allen told Cleveland media, quote, I want to be the guy that turns around the Cleveland Browns. That guy that does it is going to be immortalized in Cleveland forever. Good enough reason?
I mean, you just said it. It's not just Cleveland. See, let's say Josh Allen goes into the league and wins 1 Super Bowl. Well, you put him on a list with Trent Dilfer and, Mark Rippon. You know what I mean? Like you put him on this list of mediocre quarterbacks. He wins 1 with Cleveland. And then he's on lists that matter. You know what I mean? Then he's like a franchise great. He's done something that no one has ever done before. I think I think his mindset suits where I would want to be. I would want to save a franchise because it's just for my ego. Oh,
I wish he would.
I'd be like LeBron. I'd be thanking myself
my God.
all the time.
I would just say he wants to make more money because they have the number 1 pick and you get paid the most if you're the number 1 pick. That should be the real answer. I'm so done with the Cleveland Brown nonsense. 1-15, 0-16, everything else that's involved. I don't want to. No, just say no. Just
so good.
Just don't do that.
Me and Hugh Jackson saved the world.
The next one here. Why does P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever you want to call him,
Poopy Duty?
Why does he want Janet Jackson to perform at this year's Super Bowl halftime with Justin Timberlake?
He's a jerk. If we're being perfectly honest, he's a jerk. It's a jerk move. And even if she did show up, which I would love, don't get me wrong, you don't talk about it. First rule of Fight Club, kids. You don't talk about Fight Club. Look, that Super Bowl halftime show ruined entertainment. It ruined radio. It ruined television. It ruined everything. Censorship became so much bigger, stronger, and more obnoxious because of one bra malfunction than anything else in the world. I was the board op at the Howard Stern show at that point, and I remember everything changing because that was when people found out that indecency adds up to what you complain about. If you don't complain, there's no indecency. But if you complain and you can get the FCC's ear, all of a sudden there's fines and people are fired. And it's happened ever since.
Man, I did not think you were going to go that way. I thought you were going to go simple as saying Diddy wants a more rated halftime show. He wants people talking about the entertainment side of it. If Janet Jackson comes out with Timberlake...
What's he got to do with the halftime show? He don't care.
Well, get the Bad Boy Records in there. Get in there somehow. If he says, hey, I was the one who got Janet Jackson in there, nobody tuned away from it. Maybe that's the Diddy entertainer side of it.
There is a movie coming out, made for TV. I believe it's Josh Duhamel and Sticky Fingers from Onyx, I think is the
USA Network?
Yes, about the murders of Biggie and Tupac. If I was Puff Daddy, I'd be laying low, because if Josh Duhamel finds out that it was you, it'll be on USA Network, sir. I still think you did it. I think you did it.
I can't. Just call him P. Daddy.
P. Daddy murder face.
Last one here, and this one's driving me nuts, and I need help with this one. And I need help from Siena basketball fans.
You're supposed to wash your hands after every time you go to the bathroom.
518-476-1045. 518-476-1045, especially Siena basketball fans. Levack, why is Siena in the MAC? Why are they in this conference?
Great conference.
Have you heard the story that broke yesterday that I think is a huge deal that we need to talk about, especially if you're a Siena basketball fan, of why they seriously should consider moving out of their conference?
I mean, I don't think I have, but I feel like if we take a second or two to gather ourselves, you could tell me all about it. Next.